Aniimo's core mechanic is the ability to become the creatures you catch, which completely changes how you interact with the world, from combat to movement and traversal, solving exploration puzzles, and even talking to other creatures of the same species, which unlocks dozens of unique interactions and creature-specific quests. But the world design plays a huge role in this as well, since wild Aniimo interact with each other and have their own routines and behaviors, making every area feel alive and distinct and like these creatures actually belong there. But then also the fact that, no matter which direction you turn to, you're sure to find something fun to do, new secrets to uncover, treasures, collectibles, puzzles, new goals to reach. Put all of this together, and you've got a truly magical open world. My only complaint here was that there's too much emphasis on fire-related puzzles, which kind of forces you to have an Aniimo with fire-type skills during a lot of the exploration, so I hope they at least rebalance this for future areas. I was also pleasantly surprised with performance in this beta, because while the world of Aniimo can be incredibly beautiful, it did have some performance issues in the previous beta, but in this one I was able to run it flawlessly at max settings the entire time, which definitely elevated the experience. But I know other people who had performance issues and I can't speak for console or mobile. Then the creature collecting experience. You can tell just how much passion and attention to detail was put into the creature designs, from their range of expressions, their reactions to you and other creatures, or those small details like how their fur gets wet in the rain, or how each of them leaves their own individual trail on sand. But Aniimo also makes the creature collecting in itself fun and rewarding too. Most Aniimos have more than one form, between day and night or weather variants, or even tied to specific events like story quests or the rare Prismana flow weather. And on top of this, you also have research missions for every creature, making this gradual discovery and collection even more interesting. If anything, I only think there's a bit too much focus on cutesy creature designs, and barely any playfully spooky or even creepy designs, which I get is more of an overall choice of design direction, but I do think there's more margin to experiment with more types of designs, as long as it fits into the overall theme and art style of the game. There's also some good variety of game modes for you to use these creatures in, between the overall exploration and story quests, the NPC battles, the single-player roguelike mode, the co-op raid boss battles, and the egg heist extraction mode with optional PvP. There's a fair amount of fun and varied game modes to choose from, and with some of these having great potential to become long-lasting endgame modes as well. However, my major concern from this beta was how easy everything was. By the end of the first week, I was already completing everything there was to complete, and I really don't think it should be possible for players to complete all content in a week or two, and especially since in the previous beta these game modes were much harder overall, even if we were also able to complete them in the 2 weeks. The main theory was that the difficulty was made easier specifically for this beta, and I really hope that was the case, because I think these challenges should remain challenging for months of optimizing and refining our teams. I understand the game should remain accessible for casual players as well, though I'm not opposing that. I just think the progression should be deepened for all players alike, but I suspect the devs are already planning exactly that. Another noteworthy feature is the base building, and despite resembling Palworld a little bit, it's actually fairly different because in Palworld, the base building is part of the survival experience and absolutely core to the progression, while in Aniimo, it's very much a side activity that you don't even need to engage with at all if you don't want to. But despite being pretty fun to progress in, my concern with the base building is in the very long term. After you've already reached the max level for your base, there really isn't much else to do other than decorating it, and it might even become a bit of a chore to maintain after a while too. You can at least use it to craft Anipods to catch creatures and even XP materials completely for free, but I think it would be good to add even more utility here in terms of items and materials that you can craft, however long they may take. Aside from decorating your base, you can also decorate your RV's front yard, customize your character, and even customize your Aniimos. In general, I think these were all fine, but it did feel like there could be more variety of cosmetics, especially for you and your Aniimos, which I'm sure they'll be adding over time, but it was also disappointing to see that we cannot have facial hair on our characters, for example, or that outfits are locked to specific genders, which felt like needless restrictions given how powerful the rest of the character creation is. The game's overall menus and UI also take some getting used to, and there are too many confirmation pop-ups that can't be dismissed permanently, such as whenever filtering our Aniimo boxes, which was something I was doing every day, so I really hope that they improve that UX. But also more concerning were the localization issues, with many translations either being inconsistent or rarely with some words being cut off entirely. And sometimes, the NPC's facial expressions can also feel a bit lifeless or disconnected from the dialogue, which I can see being immersion breaking for some players. In general though, these were pretty small issues that didn't interfere too much with the core experience, but for a game that is otherwise quite polished, they didn't quite match the level of quality that the rest of the game sets up. And finally, I left monetization for the end because it's a very nuanced topic. In general, I do think Aniimo has one of the best case scenarios for monetization, with a complete absence of gacha, the fact that there are no intrusive promotion pop-ups of any kind, and the pay-to-win, if any, is either negligible or situational, especially with Aniimo stats being normalized in PvP. However, there's still a couple of things that rubbed me the wrong way, like the temporarily exclusive and not cosmetic Aniimos locked behind paywalls, and while the devs did already say they plan to improve the gameplay experience of the controversial legendary Irizalis event, for example, they did also imply they plan on having that event's monetization remain similar as well. But also not talked about enough, I think these prismatic stones that are essentially premium items that are very hard to get for free should either be reworked or not monetized at all, since they upgrade your Aniimo's core skills significantly, and there's no reason not to spend them on every single Aniimo that you actually want to use. But credit where credit is due, I've seen a lot of misconceptions about the energy system, with some people thinking that, like other games, you can only play for 10 minutes to spend your energy and then you'll be forced to log out, but that's not the case at all in Aniimo, which does let you grind for as many hours as you want, hunting for shinies or perfect quality Aniimos, while getting unlimited XP to level up all of your parties, and even while gaining a ton of currency in the process as well. At the end of the day, especially if you don't care about PvP, I think the game won't pressure you to spend money at all, and you can stay free to play for as long as you want without any issues, which seems to me like a pretty good, though not ideal, trade-off. Ultimately, I do hope the devs keep actively listening to the community and responding to our concerns, because that's one of the things they've done best so far, and Aniimo has the potential to be a truly special game as long as it doesn't lose sight of why the players already love it so much in the first place. I've gone deeper on multiplayer, monetization, and combat in separate videos, so check those out if you want to learn more, and as always, subscribe for in-depth Aniimo content, and I'll see you on the next one.